Good morning, Iman. It's quite an important day. This particular step of the midterm budget policy statement is important for all South Africans, particularly because municipalities, government departments and provinces use this opportunity to ask for more funding to fund projects and programs that would have come through, and unforeseen circumstances that would have led to more money being required. It's also an opportunity for the minister to tell the country how the economic picture is looking and how the unemployment picture is also looking, and the risks that are actually there that we should expect ahead of the major budget in February. But there are a lot of people moving around here in Parliament this morning. Among them, it's economists, business people who are going into lockup to look at the finer details in rims and rims of paper, to look at what exactly is going to be going on. They are going to be in lockup until 2 p.m. and one of those people, Iman, is Aliya Chikte, who is with the Budget Justice Coalition and an economist with the Alternative Information and Development Center. Aliya, thank you so much for your time. As you are on your way to the lockup, what are the things that you will be looking out for in the budget papers that are important as a lobby group and a think tank?
Thank you so much. So I think it's important to be aware that before Enoch Godongwana takes the podium, there will be a collective of trade unions and social movements that are challenging and demonstrating against government's austerity measures. So what we want to be seeing in this statement is are issues which reflect some of these demands. We are aware that this will possibly not be happening under the government of national unity, but some of the key things that we want to be seeing this morning is what are the spending trends for health and education, in particular with regards to the 2,407 planned teacher cuts for next year that are happening in this province. We're also looking at the public sector wage bill in general, so how are critical posts in healthcare and education going to be filled. Another thing that we want to be looking at is how government plans to prioritize the problem of mass unemployment. The third thing is the social relief of distress grants. So currently, today, the Institute for Economic Justice and Pay the Grants are taking SASSA and the Department of Social Development to court over the unfair exclusionary policies of the social relief distress grant. We're also hoping that government will change the SRD to become a universal basic income guarantee. So those are some of the things that we're going to be looking out for.
Let's talk about something else that you are very interested in as a group and as groups as the Budget Justice Coalition and the AIDC, among others. It's how government properly uses its money. This is on fiscal policies. A lot has been said about how badly we plan for programs and spend our money on issues that do not make us a return as a country. What are your views on what needs to change with how we plan our fiscal policies?
In terms of fiscal policies, I think that government needs to have an approach which allows fiscal policies to be gender sensitive. And what we mean by this is that fiscal policy should ensure gender equity. And so when there are cuts to social spending, this results in a deepening of the crisis of social reproduction, which affects particular groups disproportionately compared to others. And another thing that we're particularly concerned about as we head into the speech is how the fiscal and core fiscal rule is being proposed. And why this is a concern is because so one of the for viewers at home who haven't heard of this before It's a proposal to put a cap on either spending or on the issuance of debt. And this will further hamper economic growth, because if the government spends less, then that means that the spillovers are reduced. But it will not address the underlying problem of debt or economic growth for that matter. But then also an additional concern is that spending is ultimately a legislative function. And Parliament, in this case, are the decision makers, and Parliament is bound by the Constitution. So under the current constitutional framework, we do not think that a fiscal anchor or fiscal rule is appropriate.
Thank you very much, Aliya Chikte, there from the Alternative Information and Development Center, saying a lot is going on in court. There will be SAFTU here marching for what they think is right. And of course, there is a lot happening around ahead of this particular MTBPS around here in Parliament. And of course, I have my colleague who is my colleague Aldrin Sampier, who is with the TG of the EFF and who's also the MP here. Ompile Matwe. Aldrin.
Well, thank you so much for that, Xolani.